Welcome to Let's Talk, where Spokane Talks hosts seek out and discuss the latest on a variety of interesting topics to Spokane and North Idaho. Here's today's host, Colin Pittman.
I'm your host, Colin Pittman, and I am joined with Congresswoman Kathy McMorris Rogers from the 5th Legislative District. Congresswoman, let's talk. I am a millennial voter, and I know so many millennial voters are very concerned about issues that have to do with college education. So as an incoming college student myself, this is something that I can relate to. Sydney on Facebook says, "What plans do you have to help alleviate crushing student loan debt on millennials?"
Okay. Well, first, I am someone that had to work my way through college. I took out student loans. I understand firsthand how tough it is. In fact, I just finished paying off my final student loan last year.
Yay.
So that was a big celebration. An education is so foundational, and it's important that the next generation has a whole host of options too. You know, it's not just a 4-year degree. It might be a 2-year degree. It might be some kind of skills training, another program. We want to have as many options out there as possible. A lot of the issues around tuition and tuition itself, the cost, is at the state level. What those levels are going to be. At the federal level, the federal government has gotten involved in this more through loans and grants that are made available to those that are going to college. I'm proud that we have, and I have supported, for example, making Pell Grants year-round. And then, so instead of just it following the September through May. School year, now that's year-round. I'm also supporting efforts to make Pell Grants available beyond the traditional university and college, maybe to other programs, because we want to have those options available to young people. I've been a long time supporter of the Perkins loan, which is geared at for a lot of first generation, low or middle income students. Ivanka Trump right now actually is leading an effort geared at focusing on the expansion of apprenticeship program, as well as the Perkins loan and vocational education, really looking at how do we make sure that college and university, but also that these other fields where we have big needs, that we are meeting those needs and making sure that it's affordable. The federal government last year, or Congress, passed legislation to ask for more transparency from the universities and colleges when they're raising tuition, just so that we could get a better sense as to what's driving the cost of education and therefore then tuition itself. But this bottom line, we got to make sure that anyone who wants to go to college feels like they can afford to do it and that those options are available to them.
And I think sometimes those that are in the middle class get a little left behind out of some of those grants, and scholarships, and loans, because if you are able to pay for it, if your parents make enough to fully fund maybe your education, or if you're on the opposite side of the spectrum, you'll get a lot of assistance from the federal level and from grant from the university. So I think sometimes I know a lot of concerns for middle class millennials is that, oh, well, there's nothing in it for me. I'm the one that's having to take out all of these loans and pay them off till I'm 50, 60 years old.
Right.
So I know that's a concern too.
Well, I'm proud. It was really the Republicans at the state level that led the effort to not just bring down tuition, but then cap how much it could be increased on an annual basis here in Washington State. You know, and I hear what you're saying, because I took out the unsubsidized Stafford loan, which meant, you know, I was right in that area where you get to pay the full price.
Right. And so I know another thing that millennials are concerned about is the Social Security program. And this was a question on Facebook as well. More people are taking out of Social Security today than are putting into it. And I know a lot of millennials don't even see a future in the program. So what's Congress going to do about that?
I believe that we should be taking steps now to strengthen Social Security and make sure that this very important program, both Social Security and Medicare, is there for those who have paid into it and for our seniors that are depending upon these programs. We have a responsibility to make sure that they are strengthened and that they are protected. President Trump has said, he doesn't want to do anything. He doesn't want to touch Social Security or Medicare. I think to really look at Social Security and to the person's point as far as us not putting enough in even to cover what's being pulled out right now, this is one where Republicans and Democrats really need to come together. And it's going to, I think it would be a longer term, either a commission or a recognition that this is something that we need to do for America. And Republicans and Democrats would have to work on that together. But right now, we are committed. I'm committed to making sure that our seniors have that certainty, and both with Medicare and Social Security, that it's there for them, and there's really no changes on the close horizon.
Right, and they paid into that system for so long.
Yes.
That now they're able to reap the benefits. And I know a lot of millennials are concerned that they're going to be paying into this program all of their or most of their career.
Right.
And then they'll retire and they won't reap any of the benefits from that program.
Well, that's another reason why millennials need to get involved in politics, right? I had a millennial breakfast this morning with 35 millennials, and it was
in Spokane.
In Spokane.
Great.
Yes, it was really good just to hear their perspective, their insights, as well as answer their questions.
And what were some of the things that they were concerned or focused on?
Well, it's a lot of the same questions that you're asking and that people in general ask. I want them to be optimistic, given our economy and the economic numbers, that they can go get a job. It wasn't that long ago that a lot of young people, even graduating from college, felt like there weren't a lot of job opportunities and they found themselves living in the basement of their parents' house or something like that. And today we have more job openings in America than people on unemployment, and so that's good. There's a optimism and a hope that comes with that, and the job is the opportunity. And so we talked about the economy, we talked about the debt. The debt is of concern, kind of the same concern that we keep adding to the debt, and what does that mean decades from now,
right?
In the future, when the debt starts impacting our ability to invest in, meeting our commitments, whether it's Social Security or Medicare or our military or defense or retirement system. So the debt is an important issue. We talked about, I was asked about gun violence and climate change and the debt, and just it's kind of the same kind of questions that a lot of people ask.
Right, a lot of the same concerns. Now, this is a personal question.
Okay.
Is Congress really focusing on the issues of millennials? Because I think so often, as I see things being voted upon in Congress, we're so focused on meeting that current agenda, getting what we need to get done under the current administration, the now issues, but are they really focused and concerned about the issues that are going to be affecting us down the road, my generation's
Right.
issues?
Well, millennials are the largest voting bloc in America today. For the longest time, it was the baby boomers, and they dominated. But there are more eligible millennial voters than any other voting bloc. So there's an opportunity for them to engage. As you think about what this Congress has done and how its impact on millennials, I think the economy, growing jobs, is foundational to anyone's life. And for someone who is young in their career and just getting started, more take-home pay, more job opportunities, that is the foundation for a better life. So I am really encouraged with the tax reform, with Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, as well as lifting the regulatory burden, that we're seeing a booming economy. And that's going to give young people and millennials more opportunities. I think, some of the questions you ask around tuition and cost of education, that continues to be a big issue. But millennials, they just need to engage like any other voting bloc, and make their voices heard, and make sure that Congress is responding to them. I know, as the representative for the 5th Congressional District, my boss, it's the 700,000 people of Eastern Washington, and I'm proud to have a record of getting results for them. And so often it's people who talk to me and give me ideas that then become the foundation for actually moving legislation and making a difference for the people of Eastern Washington.
And so, as you said, millennials do need to get involved and come together. But I think that come together piece is so important, that maybe you and I can have different views, but we don't have to have a screaming match, because I feel like that doesn't get anything accomplished. And I think so often today, and it's very easy to do with social media, that we are posting more of rants and arguments that are non-constructive and getting not much accomplished.
If we can't talk to each other, we're not going to be able to solve problems. And I have made a commitment to hosting unity dinners, bringing diverse people together for dinner, just to talk about their perspective and hear from them, gain understanding. And I've been amazed of the relationships and the impact that's had. Over the last year and a half, I've co-hosted a peaceful community roundtable, again, where we're coming together as community leaders to talk about Spokane and what kind of a community is Spokane, and what can we be doing right here to make Spokane a better place to live and raise a family and run a business. And it takes each one of us doing our part.
It does. It really does. And that's something we want for not only Eastern Washington, but the country. So if you'd like to see how Congresswoman Kathy McMorris Rodgers has been voting in Congress, please go to mcmorris.house.gov. We'll see you next time on Let's Talk.